Hey peeps, it's Brandy. Today, I'd like to talk about energy vampires and what I've been noticing around children. I don't know. When I say this, some people are going to be like, what? Some people might take this as me potentially also being racist because I'm gonna be honest with you. Most of the time, what I'm about to talk about, what I see are senior citizens, and a lot of times, almost all the time, they're Caucasian, and I'm not. So I'm not coming at anybody, you know, any any gender, any ethnicity. I'm not coming at them at all. I'm just speaking on something that I have noticed. And I mean, I noticed it before COVID, or what is that, pre-COVID? I noticed it pre-COVID. But I have noticed it during COVID because during COVID, everything was shut down. So I was out there delivering stuff to people. No lie, I made a lot of money too. I'm not even going front. I made a lot of money. But while I was out there, I saw a lot of stuff when those streets were supposed to not have anyone on it. Okay? I saw a lot of people. At the time, I lived in a small town, but it's not just that town. I've noticed this a lot. Okay, so I noticed, and first of all, let me just forewarn you. When I say this and you hear it and you take notice of it, you won't be able to unnotice it. I noticed that early in the morning, you have the school age kids go to school, and mom or dad take the littlest ones to the park. Now this is late morning. Let's say, they've already gone, and like I said, I delivered a lot of food. I delivered a lot of packages. So I've been in like all of these different neighborhoods. This isn't just one particular neighborhood. It's something that I've noticed a lot. So the babies, they take the babies to the park, let's say around 10 o'clock. These are the ones they're not necessarily going to the preschools or the daycares, but it's something with that too. I don't spend a lot of time in daycares because my daughter, she's not a little baby anymore. She's not that young. So I what I noticed was the abundant amount of senior citizens sitting around the park. Now, if there's no children there, they might sit there for a little bit of time. But if no children come, they don't stay there. They will then move on to the places where the parents take the children when there's inclement weather. See, because the parents, no matter what, will always try to get those babies to use up some of that energy so they can take a nap. So mom or dad can clean the house, wash the dishes, wash a couple loads of clothes, do whatever it is that they need to do. And baby's refreshed by the time big sis or brother come home. Or around the time it's time to go get big sis or brother. Now, what I noticed is that if they're not at the park, you'll notice them at places like if you have a McDonald's that still has a play area for children, or if there's a place where kids have parties, like you ever go in a Chuck E. Cheese or something like that, and there's like a senior couple there? Because I find that most of the time I saw them in couples. Sometimes there's normally like more than one. I've never actually seen just one by themselves. Not too often. That's like really, really rare. And so, but they don't have any grandchildren there. They don't know any of the children there necessarily. They may sit there and talk to their parents because, we as adults, we see senior citizens there. We're just like, hey, well, hey, how are you doing? We don't suspect a senior citizen of uh, being there to steal our child away. We just see this nice, sweet, rosy cheeked old man or woman who, they're just sitting out there, and maybe they got a whole story. And maybe that story is, well, I come here sometimes because, I'm missing my grandchildren. And some of them, it's just like, I just love being around the children. Peeps, please understand, and I'm not going to say each and every last one of them. If there's a senior citizen there and their grandchild is there with them, that's different. But when you see the senior citizens just sitting there, and we're like, you don't see them too late because, well, they're senior citizens. They go home and they they go to sleep early. Like, grandma goes to sleep at 4 p.m. and then she wakes up at 3 a.m. and she starts her day and she does all the things that she needs to do, and then she goes to sleep at 4 4 p.m. Like, I know some people would go to sleep at 6 p.m. when I was little because they watched the 5:30 news before they went to sleep. And so when I was little, I just assumed all senior citizens go to sleep late. Apparently not, because my mother be up until like 2 o'clock in the morning and she sleeps in. Hey, unless she got a doctor's appointment, she sleeps in. So that's not the case. Um, I've seen this also happens at places like Chick-fil-A. My last uh thing I was talking about Chick-fil-A. And so at one point I spent a lot of time in Chick-fil-A. Um, don't judge me. But I mean, like I said, I was also delivering food. So they you just take notice of these things. Like the little old people who go into McDonald's. Now, I done left McDonald's 4 times. They've been in McDonald's in the play area. Now the play area is blocked off. You go in. I'm an energy manipulator. Even I can feel the difference of energy where kids play. Okay, and like I said, this little girl from my last video, this little girl was in there all the time with her big sister. They were both under the age of 5, so big sis didn't go to school yet. But there would be these senior citizens in there. And let's say I went to this McDonald's 6 times and maybe between the hours of 10 and 2, 2, 3 o'clock, because they came in shifts. There were ones who came in later, because when the little kids get out of elementary school, the parents have a tendency to take them to go eat at places like McDonald's. So they kind of came in shifts, but sometimes they just sat there through dinner. Okay, now I just got finished saying a lot of these senior citizens, they would go home, go to bed, whatever. But they would just sit in there and they would get like a burger and well, earlier in the day they got coffee and maybe a breakfast. And as somebody who don't know, this kind of look like, oh, they're just out and they're getting some breakfast and baby. So they got breakfast and they sat there and the little ones left. Now, this particular McDonald's was like a whole social affair because you had a whole bunch of seniors who would come in there, and you had some that would be out and about and further back, like far back. They didn't want to be by the kids at all. Like they would be further back by the bathrooms and the back door. So the back door leading into the restaurant. And so they would be there, they'd be busting it up and quite vulgar sometimes. Like these were just seniors who would come, but they wouldn't stay there all day. They would get there at like starting at like 6 o'clock, and they would be leaving around like maybe 9 because they came in shifts. Because some of them they would go walking together. Like the older ones would get the seats first. And so they would come in because they weren't doing the walking with the rest of them. They would come in and they would get their coffee. And so they already got their table. And it was like a big group of them. And they would come and get some coffee and bust it up. But the second group, because they were out walking and they started walking at like 7 o'clock, making sure that it was light outside because some of the walking areas didn't have pavement. So they would go and they would uh go on their walk, and they did this every day to keep fit. And then they would go to McDonald's and they would be in there. All right. Then there was another group. They were a little closer to the kids area, but they didn't stay long. One guy did stay all day, but he wasn't in the kids area. This guy was like 80 something years old. I remember. He looked like a spring chicken. He told me that he never took any medication. Like he was not on any maintenance drugs or anything like that. I was like, man, when I get to be in my 80s, I want to be able to say that too. Like I'm not taking anything. His blood pressure was normal. His cholesterol was normal. Every day he came in, he got himself a salad. He came in for lunch. His wife had died. He came in every day for lunch. He got a salad and a water, if I'm not mistaken. Okay? These are all seniors. But they didn't have anything to do with those seniors who would be in the kids area at all. They might say hello, but they didn't really talk to them like that. And I thought that was kind of strange. But I'm coming, I'm going, and what I'm seeing is that these people outside of the children's area, they gone. But those ones that's in the children's play area, they still there all day, all day. They're there. They get something, like they come in around 10 something. They might get a coffee, maybe something to eat. In the afternoons, when the kid's not there, they all giddy and they'll come and they'll get an ice cream. And they don't even pay for the ice cream because McDonald's at the time had like this little child ice cream, a little free ice cream on this itty bitty teeny tiny cone. And they'd be like, oh, just let me get that. And like, And part of me back then was like, oh, they're just, they're just over here and they I don't know. Maybe I was just naive to the things that was going on in the South or something because I had never noticed this. And I look back on it and I saw it. It was rare, but I saw it and I just didn't understand, right? I wasn't paying attention to my instincts too. I've had a severe heightening of all of my gifts over the past 10 years. Like when I say severe because it's that major, like that major. And so I I didn't get it until one of them, because I would talk to them, she was saying something about her leg. And I'm like, oh, that's terrible. And this woman touched me on my lower back. And she was limping away from me and she was talking to me, just smiling. And she was limping away. And then she let go and she stopped limping. And I'm walking, and all of a sudden, I'm limping. And I'm thinking to myself, what did this woman just do to me? I know what she just did. But that's when I started to realize, because there was no kids coming out that day for whatever reason. That's when I started to realize what they were doing in that play area. They're literally sucking up that beautiful energy that little kids have. They're literally just sucking it up. And when you start noticing the rosy cheeks that they have after they've been in these areas with these children, you'll understand and not be able to not see this anymore. Okay, so let's talk about all of those teenagers that work at Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is known for having senior citizens in there because, let's be real, at night, most of the people who work for Chick-fil-A are kids. They're teenagers. They are running around like chickens with their heads cut off. And you'll find, at least at the local one that I used to go to, you'll find that in the afternoon around 2:30, 3 o'clock, you had a whole big batch of seniors just come in and they would be lined up along the chairs, the benches or whatever along the wall, and they'd be talking to each other. See, because that McDonald's that was a few doors down no longer had a children's area after COVID. Well, I think just before COVID, they no, I think during COVID actually, when they were able to come out again, they actually redid that McDonald's, so they no longer had a adequate play area. And the Chick-fil-A actually had a play area, but they closed that one down. But still, the children, the little kids might not have been in there, but teenagers have a lot of energy. Okay? Teenagers at Chick-fil-A, Chick-fil-A have adults running after cars in the drive-through. So you can just imagine if you've never actually been in a Chick-fil-A in the afternoon. You could just imagine the activities that's going on and everybody just go, 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 go. Because basically, I feel like that's Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A's motto. You go, 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 go. Those people being there, they don't even eat their food. They literally sit there and nibble on salads and things like that. They don't need that. They're coming in for the energy. They are energy vampires. I you can't even take your kids out to play. Like, I hate to say it the way I'm about to say it, but if you have little children and you really not about that letting somebody feed off the energy of your child, and you go to your favorite regular park, and now that I done said this to you, or your favorite McDonald's, and now that I have said this to you, you notice the seniors just sitting there. They're not eating. They're barely talking. They're just sitting there. Go to another one. Turn around, say, not this one today, baby. Go to another one. See, because during COVID, I was sitting in a restaurant and I saw this one couple. And I'm going to be real with you. They are pretty old and they were looking pretty jacked up. At that time, like I said, I was delivering food, so I was picking food. I said foods. I was picking food up, and I literally would notice that there was no one in the restaurants anymore. People were scared. But the people who were in the restaurants, they were workers in the restaurants, and there were people picking up food. It was all delivery drivers. People were not trying to come out of their house during COVID. And then you got this senior couple. I'm sitting in a restaurant because I could still eat in the restaurant. The people just weren't coming. So I'm taking a break from delivering, and I got myself something to eat. I'm sitting there, and I see this couple. Like, I had seen them drive past, so they must have went to several different places. And they I saw their car, their pickup truck, and they went from one place to another place, and they must have saw me in there sitting down. Now, I know because I'd been going to different places. There was no one out, but for the most part, me and the people that was working in the restaurants. So they come in and they look pale and just sickly. Okay, they look like they've been sick. Like maybe me. At first, I was like, well, maybe they've been suffering from COVID. Maybe they're. But I'm thinking if they had COVID and they are older people, I'm talking like 70s, 80s, possibly in their 90s. I'm thinking they're both in their late 70s, maybe early 80s at that time. And they just come in the restaurant and they sit one booth away from me. And almost immediately, I feel a pull off of me. And if you know. Like, if you are into like anything that has to do with energy manipulation, you can actually, it's like a physical pull of your energy off. You can feel it because they're basically pulling on your life force. Okay. So I'm sitting there, I'm eating my food, and they sit, the whole restaurant is empty. They sit one booth away from me, the next booth over, right? And I feel it. And they sit down, and the waitress comes up and she asks them, would you like something to eat? What would you like to eat? What would you like to order? And I feel it stop, all right? Because now they're concentrating on something else. And they tell her, now, mind you, I'm telling you, I saw them driving around to the different restaurants. They were open, there was no one in there. They were open only for um more than likely a lot of them were only open for pickups or only for the delivery people. But all that driving around, they ordered coffee and that was it. They came in looking sickly. As soon as the waitress walked away, they started on me again. Now, I'm about to get up and leave. Their coffee comes. They don't even take a sip of the coffee. They stand up, rosy cheeks. When I say them cheeks rosy, rosy cheeks. They go pay for their coffee and they leave. They left before I left. They never even drank their coffee. That's how depleted they were because they're used to absorbing other people's energy. Now, like I said, I got a bright. I have different beings, people, things attracted to my light. I know that. They came in, sat down, ordered coffee. By the time they were ready to go, by the time the coffee got to their table, they didn't even touch the damn coffee because they had their meal off of me. Anyway, peeps, be careful. If you ain't about that life, because there's some people who they are. Real talk, they are. I I think I'm not sure if on here I'll ever actually show my face because I've seen where people show their face and then they're doing like tarot or something similar to what I'm doing right now, and they start commenting on how exhausted they are and that it's not even necessarily the lives. It's them focusing on you. Just like anyone can look at a picture and feel, like you can actually feel what it is someone was feeling at the time of a picture. Like the best, the one of the ways to pull energy towards you, the good kind, is like people sharing photos of themselves, and in that moment in time they are thinking happy lovely thoughts as the picture is taken. You can actually feel happy loving thoughts feelings from looking at someone's picture when they are in that state of mind at the time that the picture is taken. It's an energy thing. So I mean, you can actually track a person from their voice too, but that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing. Not as many people know that you can do that as they know that you can look at a person's face and absorb energy from them. So, yeah, peeps. I'm gonna end it there. This one is longer than the other one, so I'm going to end it there because, like I said, I'm not coming at anyone's gender. I'm not coming at anyone's ethnicity. And I'm also not saying that this is only Caucasian people that, it just so happened that the town that I lived in at the time, it was the Caucasian senior citizens that I saw blatantly doing it. And what I do is I tell people, watch out for who's just sitting around at your local, this, that, and the other, wherever the children are. If the children are at the pool, watch out who's sitting at the pool, because they normally go to the free places. They do. They normally go to the free places. So, I mean, if you're taking your child to somewhere like Chuck E. Cheese, it's less likely that you're going to find someone there. But at the same time, at this point, what I'm seeing in the South is That you said you hear that Philly accent, the South. It's that the is that they're willing to pay for food to be able to access the children, because let's be real, in this day and age, children aren't outside anymore. Not as much as they used to be. It kind of reminds you, remember that old Angelica Houston movie called Witches? I think they did a remake of it, but I don't know if it's the Witches, and they were after the children. That's exactly what it reminds me of. That's exactly what it reminds me of. Only instead of the children going missing because of the senior citizens, there's something missing, and it's not something that's all that noticeable to a whole ton of people. But baby, don't let them people steal your baby energy. Whether they little babies or older babies, don't let them people steal your baby energy. My child be like, "Oh, I'm good." She be like, "I'm good. I'm good." She don't like being around a whole bunch of people. She be like, I know I'm good. I'm good. It's just like, okay. So yeah, that's it, peeps. Hey, I never say this. Like, subscribe. I'm gonna be making a few, so like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. All right, bye.